Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are going to talk about WannaCry, the world's largest ransomware attack. In this presentation we are going to talk about abstract, introduction, what makes the ransomware so dreadful, the WannaCry incident itself, why they used Bitcoin, how WannaCry started, affected countries, impact and response, and finally the conclusion. In May of 2017, a worldwide cyber attack by the name of WannaCry affected over 150 countries and around 230,000 computers globally in less than 24 hours and cost the world billions of dollars, known as the world's largest ransomware attack in history. Ransomware works in a very simple manner. It's a type of malware most spread through phishing attacks, which are essentially emails used to trick a user into clicking a link that leads them to a website where they enter a sensitive data or download a harmful attachment. Once the computer is infected, the ransomware runs an encryption process, and in less than a minute, some or all of the data are converted from plain text to ciphertext. In order to turn the ciphertext back to plain text, the user need what's known as a decryption key, which the attacker promises to provide if the user were to pay the payment or the ransomware. What makes the ransomware so dreadful is once your files have been encrypted, you cannot exactly decrypt them and retrieve your data. Well, you can do that, but with the current technology we have now, to break the common encryption algorithm used in ransomware attacks, such as RSA, it will take millions of years. This is what would you see if you are affected with WannaCry ransomware. Your documents, images, videos, and music become encrypted until the ransom payment has been made. WannaCry Decryptor 2.0 comes with a set of instructions and in 28 different languages for victims to follow to recover their files. The attacker demanded $300 worth of bitcoins, and after 3 days, if you didn't pay, it will be updated to $600, and after 7 days, your files will not be recoverable. Anyway, the attacker claimed that after 6 months, if you couldn't pay, they will retrieve your data, and they made it especially for poor people. The reason the attacker chose bitcoins was because it is what we know as a private cryptocurrency. This allows the holder of the currency to remain anonymous. Though the money could be traced, cryptocurrency wallet, which is where the currency itself is stored, it would be very difficult to find the owner of the wallet without extensive forensic analysis. This is the reason that Bitcoin is widely used in the dark web to purchase guns, drugs, and other illegal goods and services that would not be able to find in the surface web. How WannaCry started. To understand that, we need to go back to 2016, In August of 2016, a group called the Shadow Brokers hacked NSA, Nation State Attacks, disk, and the disk was full of secrets. The secrets are exploit of vulnerabilities in the Windows operating systems. The NSA was weaponized them for their nation attacks rather than reporting them to Microsoft or InfoSec community. Infected countries. Russia was the most infected with the over half of the infected computers. India, Ukraine, and Taiwan also suffered significant disruptions. The most popular victim to emerge out the attack was the UK National Health Service, NHS. In the NHS, over 70,000 devices such as computers, MRI, scanner devices used to test the blood, threats equipment, and over 1,200 pieces of diagnosis equipment was affected. Approximately, the attack cost the NHS over 92 million euros. Impact and response. On March 14, 2017, Microsoft was made aware of this vulnerability after it was publicly reported. However, despite the release of the patch, a significant number of organizations never updated their systems, and unfortunately, there are still major organizations running Windows XP or Surface 2003. These devices were at the end of support, which means even if updated were out, they would not receive them and completely vulnerable to the exploit. Although initially the prime victim of WannaCry were said to be Windows XP, over 98% of the victims were running unpatched version of Windows 7, and less than 0.1% were using Windows XP. Conclusion. At the end, we don't know who to blame, whether we can blame the NSA for weaponizing their exploits and they didn't report it to Microsoft, or the shadow brokers who leaked the exploits and has hacked the NSA disk, or Windows, Microsoft, who didn't respond immediately when the response happened. So always make sure we follow the guidelines to have our data secure. The most critical of it is to have a constant schedule for updating our devices and not use our outdated operating systems that will put employees and customer data and their privacy to huge risks. When it comes to ransomware, the most critical form of defense is a frequent backup. The more frequent it is, the better. And even you can have a cloud backup and local backup as well. So even if something will happen, you will not lose your files. And less than 50% of ransomware payment results in the data being returned to the victims. And so, needless to say, payment should not be an option. The biggest mistake that organizations tend to make is refusing to believe that they could be a target. According to a study by Cloud Wars in 2021, every 11 seconds a company is hit by ransomware, and a large proportion of organizations are small and medium-sized businesses that they never see it coming, as they even found to have a less than effective security strategies in place make them ideal target for such attacks. Digital transformation during the coronavirus pandemic has started to move businesses to the cloud, and so cyber criminals have now shifted their focus on the cloud as well. So even the cloud, we need to follow the guidelines, and we need to be careful for our sensitive data. For example, we can make a sensitive data in locally, and the other files which are not very important to us or not sensitive actually, we can save it in the cloud. So because cloud can be hacked as well. This is the end. Thank you so much. For more details about the incident, it will be in the case study report. My name is Azzam Mashhal, and my instructor is Dr. Yasin, and I study in King Faisal University, and my major is cybersecurity, and I'm studying master. And thank you so much for listening.